What is up, guys? Bluntguts here. This is a Watch Over Realms video. So today, I want to talk about something that I brought up a few times in the past. So I've been predicting for a while that they were going to, and by they, I mean Moonton, was going to introduce a bit of variation in the different types of attacking units in the game. And by that, I mean the types of damage that, or at least what the damage that the hero produces is based on. So almost everybody in the game, all of the heroes are based on attack, right? They are attack-based heroes. That's why we see so much attack-based gear. That's why stacking attack is so important. However, for a long time, there have been a couple of heroes that were defense-based, meaning that their damage scaled with how much defense they have. Namely, I'm thinking of Azor and Gon. Now, a little bit later, they did do a rework on Gluttony. Gluttony was the first, as far as I know anyway, HP-based damage dealer in the game. So we had a little bit more variation. Now, all of a sudden, we are seeing a bunch more coming in, starting with the Northerner Lord, the epic Northerner Lord that is on Forerunner right now. Roark, I think is what his name is. He is an HP-based, can't talk, HP-based damage dealer who is good by all accounts. I mean, I think he seems like a pretty solid hero. He seems like a great lord because he seems like he's going to be usable, which is awesome. Kind of like a Wrath equivalent almost, but HP based, and that is pretty awesome. I'm excited about that. I am, on my Forerunner account, I am working towards him right now. I'm collecting those fragments. I'm going to be doing a breakdown on him when I am able to get him, but we've also had some other ones in recently. So we've actually got a 15x for Edith, who is a defense-based damage dealer. Well, she's not a damage dealer. She's a tank. She is a defender, but her damage is based on her defense stat. Similarly, we had Trusk come out recently, and I believe if we go to the gallery, we look up Trusk, we should be able to find him in there. Where is he? I think he's an Esotericist, right? Esotericist tank. There he is. Let's see. All damage dealt scales off of defense. So this is great. And this is honestly, I'm really happy that they've been doing this. I felt for a long time that we had a bunch of wasted gear. Anytime you got defense percent gear or HP percent gear that had damage stats, it was kind of a waste, right? You didn't care about it because defenders weren't really doing any damage because, hey, their damage scaled off of attack, which was not what you wanted to stack on them. And even if you did stack attack, they weren't going to be doing all that much. But now we've got some heroes that legitimately need some defense and HP-based damage gear. Awesome. Really love it. I hope you've been saving all of the crit rate, crit damage, defense percent and HP percent gear that you've had drop that you thought probably not going to use this, but now there are some instances where you are actually going to want to use it. Here's the problem, though. Putting these heroes in the game is only one half of the equation. I'm going to show you what I mean by that. So let's take a look at my gear. And I've got a pretty developed account right now. So I am level 94. I've been, milking those CC rewards. I use a lot of my gems for farming. So I do have some pretty decent gear. Let's look at, say, Setram. He's got a lot of really nice gear. 4 out of 5 of the pieces on him are ancient pieces. 5 out of 5 on Hatsit. Let's take a look. 5 out of 5 ancient pieces on Silas. Let's take a look at Twin Fiend. 4 out of 5 ancient pieces on Twin Fiend. 4 out of 5 ancient pieces on Aracha. And I could go on and on and on. All of my best gear is ancient gear. Well, not all of it. Most of my best gear is ancient gear. So you might wonder, why is that an issue? Why does it matter that my best gear is ancient gear? That's the way it's supposed to work, right? And you're not wrong. Ancient gear is supposed to be better. It provides the right stats. It provides a higher base for the rolls for the most part. Every once in a while, you'll get a stinker where the ancient roll will just be awful. And you'll wonder, how is that okay? that happened on this incredibly rare piece of gear that's supposed to be better than what I normally get. But for the most part, you get solid rolls on it, at least solid. Sometimes you get really great rolls on it. But here's the issue. All of the ancient gear in the game that, at least for the damage-based sets, is geared towards attack-based champions. Let me show you what I mean here. So, let's take a look at Twin Fiend. Crit damage piece. What does it have on it? Attack bonus. Crit damage piece. What does it have on it? Attack bonus. Let's see. This is an attack bonus main stat piece. I have never gotten an ancient that was primarily either, the main stat was either defense-based or HP-based on an attack set. So I'm talking about endgame sets like Soulbound Arcana. I'm talking about Ageless Wrath. I'm talking about Infernal Roar. All of these gear sets, they drop attack-based gear, even though their bonuses would work just fine on an HP-based damage dealer or a defense-based damage dealer. They need to make this change because non-ancient pieces, they just don't roll well. They don't on the whole. Every once in a while you get a good one, but on the whole, they don't roll well. So here's the issue. When we get these non-ancient gear sets, and I could even roll one of these right now. Let's take a look. I can pretty much guarantee that I'm going to get a bad roll on this, and I wouldn't be surprised if the game spites me. It didn't, though. Not surprising. Only 12%. You can see of a maximum. I'm getting like, as far as the maximum benefit I could get on this, I think the max is 33%. So I'm getting slightly over a third. If each of these tick marks on this defense bonus line is 20%, I'm like probably around like 37% effect of the total value that I could get on this defense bonus stat. Non-ancient gear, it all rolls like this, almost all of it. It is incredibly rare to get a solid piece of non-ancient gear that has, one, good stat distribution, which is really important to be able to advance, and two, to have really high rolls on that non-ancient piece. So for me, as much as I love the fact that there are these amazing heroes in the game, I don't have enough gear for them. And this is coming from somebody who's farmed a lot and who has been saving defense percent and HP percent damage-oriented gear for months now. And I have barely any. Let's look. We can take a look here and just do a quick filter and just see. So we can do stop the hide enhanced, and let's look at primary attributes. Let's look for defense bonus gear, HP bonus and defense bonus gear. And then for secondary attributes, I'm just going to put crit rate and crit damage on it, because when I'm looking for good offensive-based gear sets, I'm looking for stats or substats that have crit rate and crit damage in them at minimum. Ideally, I'd like attack speed as well, but I'm not even going to go that far. So here we can see I've got some decent gear. I've got what? This is what, 12, 13 pieces of gear, 13 bangles that match those stats. I've got similar number 12 next that match those stats. I've got a bit more rings, surprisingly. It looks like I've got, 18 rings that match those stats. But let's look at some of the stats on them. I mean, they're nothing, a lot of them are nothing special. This is a really nice piece of gear. Wow, I didn't even realize I had that. That's pretty awesome. But a lot of this gear is not amazing, and it's going to be hard to build out sets. The other thing to notice, too, is that most of this doesn't have attack speed on it. So if I further limit it and add attack speed to it, which I'm trying to create a one-to-one comparison here. If you look at all of the attack percent gear that I have, or crit damage gear that I have, look at it. Crit rate, crit damage, attack speed. Okay, awesome. This is a crit damage main stat, but it's got attack bonus, crit rate, attack speed. It's all got attack speed on it. It's incredibly hard to find these pieces that do have all those stats. You can see I've got 3 rings that match those stats, and that's spread across defense. That's just HP percent. That's all I have in HP percent. One of them is not even leveled, so it's probably not going to be good. I've got 5 pieces of gear in my necks. I've got 3 pieces of gear in my bangles. And the problem is that even when they put in these heroes that are going to scale off of different stats, off of defense and HP, great concept. But ancients are preset to have attack stats on it. And that is a problem. That is a big problem. How are we going to effectively build out these heroes if, one, it is incredibly hard and incredibly time intensive and resource intensive to get HP percent and defense percent gear that is going to be roughly equivalent to what you can get on ancient pieces when there aren't ancient pieces that drop with those stats. Some of the new gear sets, maybe they're going to introduce that. Maybe that might be the case. Honestly, I think that they need to overhaul the way the gear works in this game. The low probability of getting good pieces is rough. I think even more than that, I'm okay with the low probability of getting gear with the right stats. What's really hard is not having a way to increase the rolls on this gear when it does drop. And you can say, yes, there are recast hammers and things like that. They are supposedly coming out with these chisels at some point that are going to be able to modify individual rolls within a piece of gear. That's all well and good, but they are incredibly rare. And because it's so unlikely that you're going to get a better result from them, most players most endgame players at least completely ignore them. I mean, they don't spend resources on them. There are better things to spend your resources on when they do appear in shops. There's no regular way to get them. You can only get them in, let me think, Codex, I think, is the only place you can get them in Gear Raid 4 now. So that's a couple of places a month. And then if they do an event shop, like when they did the Reeve Fusion most recently, or Reeve, exclusive event most recently, then we get the opportunity to buy some recast hammers. But nobody spends anything on them because they just don't result in better gear more often than not. And you may as well spend those resources on other things. So I don't know. I think this is something that needs to be addressed. I don't think that the realistic option is to add in defense-based and HP-based ancient gear that is damage-focused, because at the end of the day, it's already hard enough to get the right stats on a piece of ancient gear. I don't want them to dilute that pool any further. I either want them to increase the drop rate for ancients, and then you can add them in because we'll be getting more ancient gear in general, or increase the odds that this non-ancient gear is going to roll well, because right now, rolling a decent piece of gear is I'd say maybe 1 in 10 that I roll up. I get somewhat decent rolls. Not really usable at my stage of progression, but earlier on, I would have been able to use it. It's probably closer to 1 in 100 for pieces of gear that roll at ancient level, at good ancient level, and even a bad ancient level, like this piece that I have highlighted right now on the screen, this attack percent piece. The rolls aren't amazing. I mean, it's got a blue roll on crit rate, healing effect. I mean, who cares about that? But still, it rolled blue. 77 attack speed is a good roll, but it's not a great roll. 28% crit damage, barely over 60% of the max for that. This is just going to be a problem going forward. And if you want people to utilize the new and varied heroes that you are putting out, you're going to need to give them the gear that they need to support that. Anyway, I've been Bluntguts. This is just me, forward thinking about some of this stuff. I'd love to be able to use these heroes, but I need the gear to support them, and we just don't have it in the game right now. We don't really have a reasonable way to get it. I hope they make that change. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Please do like and subscribe if you do enjoy the content. I'll catch you all next time. Gear. So